So we are on page 15 and we're taking a look at a new sign called the treble clef. Treble just means high. It stands for the higher sounds on the keyboard. And the way that we notate all those sounds is by showing this clef. A clef is a sign that shows what area of the keyboard you're playing in. And this is a treble clef. And if you notice the center of that sign circles around the second line up on this staff, okay? And this is a particular name note, and that's G, treble G. So a lot of people also call this the G clef because its original purpose, and it still is the purpose, it's showing you, it's a fancy way to write a G. If you can kind of see that that is like a fancy looking G. And where did all this come from? It came from the earliest music notation in the Middle Ages, which were monks developed the system of musical notation. And they would write very fancy, this was just a medieval way of drawing a G. So they placed it on this particular line eventually. Originally, we had up to, back in the Middle Ages, we had up to 15 lines on a staff. So this is our modern staff, 5 lines. But you could have up to 15 lines at one point during this period. And so the clefs would move around, like wherever maybe that G for that particular piece was here, and this would be a G. So they were movable clefs. And you can imagine how tricky that would be because they hadn't thought of just making it small. And I'll show you some things that we use to go higher and lower with only 5 lines. So we came over hundreds of years to settle on just 5 lines, and the G always being the second line up for treble clef. So we're going to use that note as what we call a landmark. When you see that second line, I want you to just memorize that it's treble G. And where is it on the piano? It's the G just about 5 notes up from that C that we were just playing. And I'm going to show you the C also now. I need to go 5 notes down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I need to draw an extra line because I've run out of lines. So for a middle C, it's very distinctive looking. It's always the first ledger line. We call that a ledger line, an extra added line below the staff. And you can see the distance there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Line, space, line, space, line. So that's 5 notes apart. And that's how that sounds. So that will also be, these are your 2 treble clef landmarks that I want you to just memorize now. Treble G and middle C. And of course, when we go this way on the staff, we're going up, and on the keyboard, that's to your right. I've taught many people that have dyslexia in varying levels who can be very, very wonderful pianists, so don't let that get in your way. But initially, it's a little bit tricky to think up is to the ceiling on the staff, but on the piano, up is to the right. So make that connection then. When you're reading it, it's literally up, but when you're playing your instrument, up is to the right. Okay? And then, of course, down the staff is to your left as you're reading the notes going down.